It's our favorite complete recipe collection filled with mouth-watering homemade dishes featuring breads, breakfasts, appetizers, lunch, dinners, and desserts. Get out your measuring cups, mixer, and chopping board. The Home and Backyard Cookbook begins right now. Well, the summer is here, and of course, the 4th of July is a great day to celebrate, right, Christina?
I'm so excited. I love it.
And of course, so many people are thinking picnics, camping, all that fun stuff, being outdoors, and you have a really great salad for a picnic, right?
I do. We're going to be making a Greek peasant salad. So what's great about this and what makes it perfect for picnics and camping is it doesn't need to be refrigerated because there's no mayonnaise or no dairy-based products in it.
Love it. So where do we begin?
Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna load up our bowl with veggies.
Okay.
So here I have a pint of cherry tomatoes and we're just going to have these. So I did a quick tip for you guys a while back on how to easily slice cherry tomatoes with a really cool hack. You can find that on wnep.com/HB. Okay, so our cherry tomatoes are done. I'm gonna slide those to the side. Next up, we have an English cucumber. And I like using the English cucumbers because the seeds are really small. So you don't have to worry about taking the seeds out, and the skins are not waxed.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't have to peel it. You can eat the skins as well. So I'm just gonna cut the ends off. So I'm just cutting these up into a dice. You can do any size you want. That's what's great about this salad is it's completely flexible.
Now I know you have a lot of different salads on your website.
I do. We have a lot of great salads that are perfect for summer. So you can definitely check that out at itisakeeper.com. Okay, so we have our tomatoes and our cucumbers. Next I'm gonna do up some red onion. Yeah, I think I did a tip a while back too on how to chop an onion the fast and easy way. So that link is also on wnep.com/HB.
I like the fact that you make our lives a lot easier in the kitchen.
Well, you know, it's so much more fun to cook when you can do stuff efficiently and it's not a chore. So, you know what, we'll bring that bowl back over and we'll load all the veggies in there.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so now we're really going to fancy this up a little bit. We're going to add some roasted red peppers, and I just have the jarred roasted red peppers here. And we're just going to, again, cut that into nice fine dice. Yeah, you want everything to be about the same size so it fits on your fork nicely. Next up, I have some Kalamata olives. You can buy these already pitted in the store because they do have some pretty big pits. Yeah. So I just cut them in half. Sometimes you can even find them already cut if you want to use them.
Yeah, I've seen them in the can.
And then I have some feta cheese.
Oh, delicious.
I love feta cheese. So you can crumble it. You can buy it crumbled. I bought this in a block and I'm just going to chop it up into bite-sized pieces.
Beautiful.
And we will pile that in there.
Look at the way this
I know it looks so pretty, doesn't it?
It's gorgeous, yeah.
Next up, just a couple more things for the salad. I have some chickpeas, just canned chickpeas that I've drained and rinsed, and we'll just put those in there. And then we're going to add a little fresh flavor. So I have some mint and basil that we're going to chop up and put in there. And this just gives it that little something extra. Yeah. Okay, so this is all we need for the salad. I'm just going to give it a quick toss. Trying not to be too harsh with it. I don't want to break the cheese up too much, but just to get everything kind of mixed together. Okay, we're going to set this aside. And now we're going to make the dressing for this salad. So it's a real simple vinaigrette. And I like to make it right in a jar. It just makes it so easy to do it. So here I have some olive oil. And then this is red wine vinegar. Not just red vinegar, but red wine. It gives it that little bit of something extra. And then we are going to add some Dijon mustard and a little bit of honey for sweetness. Then we're going to add some oregano and a little bit of my house seasoning. If this recipe's on my website, if you don't have that, just some salt and pepper would be good. And then last but not least, I'm going to put garlic in here. Now, the best way that I have found to incorporate garlic into this recipe is to grate it.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, because it gets really fine and you don't get any big chunks of garlic. Okay. So I have a rasp and I'm just going to run it over. And you'll get a real fine, like garlicky pulp almost.
Yeah.
And then it just disappears right into the vinaigrette.
And the best part, it's all in the jar.
It's all in the jar. So now we mix, and that's all there is to it. So simple. You could even take it, like if you're gonna travel with it, you could just keep the dressing in the jar and then toss it together.
Yes,
once you get to where you're going to be. That way nothing gets soggy. So our dressing is done. Bring the salad back and just drizzle that over top. All right, and then one last toss. Oh, it smells so good.
It really does.
This has such a wonderful fragrance to it with the oregano and
the mint.
The mint. And that's all for our Mediterranean Greek peasant salad.
Well, Christina, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
For the recipe. It was great. Now, if folks want some of your recipes, how can they get them?
Sure, you can find my recipes, including this Greek peasant salad and so many more recipes at www.itisakeeper.com.
Well, thanks again, Christina. And from everyone at Home and Backyard to all of you, happy 4th of July. The 4th of July always conjures up memories of picnics and gatherings with family and friends. And speaking of family, I'd like to introduce you to Charlene Fonash, and she is the mom of one of our producer photographers, Kevin Fonash. And we're so thrilled because Kevin was telling me about something that you used to make that he remembers as it's delicious. It's some kind of a 4th of July dessert.
Right. It's called Old Glory dessert. It's made, it's a cookie actually, and it's decorated like a flag, so it's appropriate for this weekend. Which is
and we like that. We like something that looks patriotic.
The first thing I do is you get a cookie sheet. It's 15 by 10 by 1 inch, and then you're supposed to spray it so nothing sticks. That's what I'm going to do right now.
These are nice, easy things to take to picnics.
Yes, and then we take the cookie dough. This was, they say you can use a tube of refrigerated sugar cookie dough.
Nice.
And if you don't want to use that, you can use 2 cups of your own recipe.
Right.
But I'm all out.
I'm with that. I'm with the
the easy.
I'm with the easy one.
Now the thing is, they say 18 ounces, but they've downsized, so it's 16.5 ounces.
All right.
So you just have to kind of stretch it on the pan a little bit more. So that's what we'll do.
It's easy to work with when it's right at the refrigerator, right?
Right.
More than sitting
right. More than sitting around, because if it sits around, it gets rather sticky. So I just kind of put it on here and stretch it out. So this is going to be one big cookie.
Okay, so while Charlene is almost done with this, this is Kevin, her son, and he is working on Home and Backyard with us. He's one of our producers. Now get back to work, Kevin.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
We have that all spread out on the pan like that. So now that goes in the oven, 350-degree oven for 10 to 12 minutes.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. While that's cooking in the oven, I'm going to clean the fruit. We have a half a cup of blueberries, and I try to get them all the same uniform size so they...
We want our stars and stripes looking fine.
Looking fine, that's right. Want them to look all nice and even. And then I'll do the same with the strawberries. It's 2 cups of strawberries. And I think I can cut the tops off while they're doing that too.
All right.
Okay. Also, while the cookie is baking, after we get our fruit washed, I'm going to make the cream cheese topping that goes on top of the cookie. What we use is an 8-ounce package of cream cheese and a 3-ounce package of cream cheese. And it has to be softened, so this has been sitting out for a while to get soft. And after you put in the cream cheese, it's 3/4 of a cup of the confectioner's sugar. Put that in there.
That's good stuff too.
And then 4.5 teaspoons of lemon juice. So we have that poured out already. And then we're going to take the mixer and just mix it up so it's nice and smooth. So that'll be ready to put on till it gets really creamy. And that's why softening the cream cheese makes it much easier to do. And it helps the fruit stay in place as well. Okay, that looks like that's pretty well mixed. Now what we need to do is take out 1/4 cup of this and set it aside because I'm going to pipe that in between the blueberries to make the stars. So we don't want to put all of it on the cookie right away. Okay, this should be done now. I'm going to let this cool. Okay, now the cookie has cooled, so we're ready to put on the cream cheese mixture that we mixed up. So I'm just going to take this and spread it all over the top evenly. This will make a nice base for the berries. Kind of like frosting a cake.
It is. I like this recipe actually because you could use it for different, for different holidays. Really, when you think about it, you could decorate it any way.
Absolutely, you could put whatever top decoration that you would want for a holiday. I think what we'll do is we'll cut some strawberries so that we're ready because we're going to put half of a strawberry on. So I'm just going to cut a few of these. Okay, now I'm just going to place some of the fruit here so I have an idea how I want my pattern to go. I'm going to put 6
You
blueberries.
actually can tell that you've made this before because you have this little schematic here, which I love.
Right, well that's because I wanted
idea.
to make sure, the first time I did this I had to play around with it and take them off and redo things, so I thought I'm just going to use what I did before. So I was putting 6 down and 7 across, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that looks like, until I get done, it'll make a nice
Looks good.
blue background here. Okay, and then just for placement also, I'm just going to do this, just to make sure. Because this is going to be where my first stripe will start. I'm taking the half of the big strawberries and just laying them end to end like this. The amount that you use depends on the size of your berries. If you're using huge strawberries, you obviously won't use quite as many. So that will be what our first stripe will look like. So it's usually like 2 rows of blueberries and then you have a row of strawberries for your stripe because you want to leave a little bit of cream cheese showing as a white stripe that's in a flag. For this part, the cream cheese mixture that you reserved, that I kept in the refrigerator a little bit so to make it a little stiffer than what I spread on the cookie, I'm going to put this in a cake decorator. They say to use a pastry bag, but this was from my grandmother a long time ago. And this is better. It even has, it's got a hole in where you could write with it.
Oh,
that's what I've done. But this one is a star pattern. Just pipe those in right there so that they're like the little
stars
pattern.
This is fun.
Yeah, and it's really not difficult. And it reminds you of like a cool dessert, because you can keep it in the refrigerator if you want, because it has the berries on it, and when you bring it out, it'll be nice and cool for a hot July 4th picnic.
Yep, perfect.
And there we are with our stars and stripes for July 4th.
Well, Charlene, I think you have a beautiful dessert.
And tasty too, hopefully.
I'm sure it's delicious, and thank you so much for sharing this recipe with us.
I'm so glad you could come and I could show you how to make this and have my son come as well to participate in a tradition in our family.
We had a very nice time, and we wish you and yours a very happy 4th of July.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. blueberry season. And I'm here at the Hitchcock home, and this is Christina and her mom, and we're picking blueberries today, right, Christina?
We are.
And I can't wait to see what we're going to make with these blueberries.
Yes, we've got an exciting recipe coming up.
Excellent. So these blueberries, tell us a little bit about the bushes, because there's low bushes, high bushes, wild ones. Tell me a little bit about these.
So these are high bush blueberries. We have a couple different varieties here on my mom's property, and the high bush ones have the bigger berries. The low bush have the little smaller berry sizes. These are much larger.
I mean, look at the size of these berries. They're magnificent.
I joke because sometimes they're like bigger than your thumb.
Honestly. Actually, picking blueberries is great fun for the family.
Oh yeah.
It is, and it just makes a lot of fun memories. And right now, I guess we're gonna head over to your house, to your kitchen.
Yep.
And we're going to make something with these delicious blueberries. Let's go. Well, we're here in the kitchen, and we're ready to make our blueberry pie.
Yes, so these are the berries that we picked earlier, and what we do is we just lay them out on a cookie sheet and let them hang out overnight, and you'll see they get this nice deep blue color. Yeah, and they really ripen up nice, just laid out on a cookie sheet, room temperature. So the first step of our pie is we need to make the crust. So I'm just using a pre-made pie crust.
Nice.
I'm just gonna unroll it.
Okay.
We're just gonna place that right in our pie plate, and I'm just pinching that spot together, making sure it's pretty even all the way around, and then just using my knuckles to make the fluted edges.
Yeah. Okay.
So once we have the edges all done up, I'm just going to take a fork and I'm going to just poke holes all the way around, and this will prevent the crust from puffing up as it bakes, because there's not going to be a filling in it while we bake it.
Oh, all right.
So we'll put this right in the oven and bake it up, and while that's baking, we'll work on the rest of the filling.
Sounds great.
Okay, so our next step is we're gonna make the blueberry sauce for our filling. So I have just a saucepan here. I'm gonna put it on like a medium high, and I'm adding 1.5 cups of the blueberries that we picked.
Right to the pot. No
Right in there. Do you wanna scoop me out 1/2 cup of sugar?
Sure.
And we'll add that, just add that right in. Okay. And then to that, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of instant tapioca, and this is like my blueberry secret weapon. I put this in all my pies. It actually makes the sauce thicken up nice, and these are so juicy they'll get runny. So we're just going to stir that up and wait for the blueberries to pop and do their magic. So you see we're almost done. You'll see how the berries have popped and we have a nice juice forming, and the tapioca is mostly dissolved there. So we're going to take this off the heat. And as it sits while we're working on the rest of the sauce, it'll thicken up a little bit.
Okay.
So to our sauce, we're just going to add 2.5 cups of fresh berries. So there's a little more than 2 cups, and then I'm going to eyeball the 1/2 cup.
All right.
Just like that. So I'm just going to stir that all together.
Beautiful.
Make sure everything gets coated. Okay, so we're just going to pour this right into our baked pie shell.
Oh, there's nothing that says summer like this. This beautiful
I know,
pie.
right? Aren't they beautiful? I love the deep dark color. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the refrigerator, let it set up for a little while we work on the final step, the topping for our pie.
Nice. Okay.
So this is our final step to our pie. This is the topping. So we're going to add a box of vanilla pudding, the instant vanilla pudding.
Interesting.
And to that, we're going to whisk in a cup of milk. And it'll start to thicken up pretty quickly.
Look at that.
Yeah, this is such a great recipe. My mother-in-law actually introduced this recipe to me. Yeah, it's one of those that once you make it, everybody will start asking you to make it.
It's a keeper, as you would say.
It is definitely a keeper. So to that, we are going to fold in 1/2 of this container of whipped topping.
This is really fun.
Right? So just 1/2 of the container. We're just going to fold it in. We don't want to lose the air that's in the whipped topping. So the whipped topping is really just going to lighten up the pudding layer. Okay, I got the pie out of the refrigerator, Jackie.
Oh, it looks so
you
good.
see how it's set up so nice?
Yeah, it did.
To that, we're just going to put our topping right over it. And you want those berries to cool down. Otherwise, your pudding mixture would just fall apart. Yeah.
You don't want that.
And so I'm just going to spread that in a nice even layer, covering up all of those blueberries. So we're just going to set this in the fridge. We're going to let it chill and everything comes together, and then we'll enjoy.
Sounds good. Okay, let's try it. We're here with Christina's son Joey, and we're all going to sample, right?
Yeah, we'll all give it a try.
This looks so delicious. Wow.
That's good.
It is good.
I
Oh my
love the different
God,
textures
yes.
and the cool creamy topping.
And the nice, the crust is good with the blueberry. Oh, I love this. This is really unique.
It's like summer.
It
It's
really
just like
is.
summer. I'm telling you, once you make this, everybody's going to want you to make it.
It screams summer. And Christina, why don't you let everybody know about your blog, because you have some wonderful recipes on there.
Sure. So my site is itisakeeper.com. So you could find it by going to www.itisakeeper.com. I have hundreds, maybe even thousands of recipes there, including this recipe.
Yep.
And many more blueberry recipes.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for
you're so
making
welcome.
this for us. And it truly is delicious. And have a great summer.
Thank you. You too, Jackie.
Thanks. Let's dig in, Joey. Well, who doesn't love a picnic? And I'm here with Christina Hitchcock. Hello, Christina. And we love picnics because of the food and the fun and the gathering. And the 4th of July picnics are really great fun. And a lot of us bring recipes that have been in the family.
Yeah.
And today, that's what we're going to celebrate.
Yes.
Right?
So I'm so excited to be sharing this recipe today because I realize I have not yet shared this on my website at all.
Nice.
It's my grandmother's molasses baked bean recipe. I grew up eating it since I can remember.
Well, thank you for sharing it with our
I'm
viewers
excited.
today. I
This
am
is so
too.
good.
All right, well, let's get started.
Okay, so the first thing we need to do for our baked beans is we need to dice up an onion. So I just have a regular, either a yellow or a white onion. Just get that peeled.
Squeeze off of it. So, are we going to mince this onion up, or do you leave them in longer pieces?
Well, you could do whatever you like. So my mother usually leaves them in longer pieces. I like a fine dice on mine, so it's entirely
Okay, so
it's entirely
to
up to you.
liking.
Yeah,
Great.
whatever you like. So to dice an onion, you do cuts long ways, and then you just go the opposite,
Great.
watching your fingers, of course,
Right.
and then you go cross.
Yes.
So it's 3 cuts, and you get a perfect dice, and
Beautiful.
it's super fast.
Yeah, that is fast. Great.
Yeah, so we're going to use the entire onion.
Okay.
If you have family members that don't like onions in
Yeah.
their food, and we all have those picky family
True.
members,
Yes.
you could grate this really fine on a
Wow.
rasp grater because you'll get the flavor of the onion, but you won't get any of those pieces.
Well, I like
so
that.
if you want to
It's
like,
nice and sneaky.
yeah, if you want to sneak some in there for the flavor.
All right, what's next?
Okay, so we're going to start assembling our baked beans right in our baking dish. So it's just a 13 by 9 baking dish.
Okay.
And everything goes in there. So I'm get those diced onions.
Baked beans are the best for a side dish, in my opinion.
They're classic.
Yes.
It's a classic recipe. Okay, so the basis of our beans is 4 cans of pork and beans. And we're just going to put all of them in there.
Okay. Excellent. So these just do not have anything else in them.
Nope.
They're just plain pork and beans.
Just the plain cans of
Right.
pork and beans.
right.
And if you can get sometimes you can find the bigger
Bigger
cans.
ones.
You can use those just as long as the measurements add up. And this
All
is
right.
a really flexible recipe. Like
Yeah.
most of the time I don't even measure. I made it so long for so many years. Now we need some brown sugar. We're going to sweeten these up. So can you get me half a cup of the brown sugar?
All right, let's load
Yep.
this baby up. How's
There.
that? Good?
Yep, that's good.
I just dump it in?
Dump it in.
Okay.
Doesn't get easier than that.
No, I like it.
Then we're going to add some molasses. So I love the deep flavor of molasses. So that's there. And this is one of my favorite kinds of measuring cups. It's a plunger. So for
Yes.
sticky ingredients like molasses,
Oh,
it makes it so much
interesting.
easier. And I'm almost at the end of my jar.
So difficult to get it, to get it out
It is.
when you're cleaning them.
But look at that.
Oh, that's great.
You just plunge it out. So we're going to use the same measuring cup. And I'm going to add, you know what, we're gonna make it easy. We're just gonna take the top right off.
Right.
We're going to add some ketchup. So we're gonna get some sweetness from the ketchup as well.
Right.
We're just,
What is that, like about a cup maybe?
half a cup.
Half a cup.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're just building our layers of flavor here.
Okay. The molasses is going to be nice. I want that, and the sugar, want that all like kind of caramelized.
It does. It bakes up so nice. And then to this, we just have to add a little bit of my all-purpose seasoning blend. Yep. That's a given. Or salt and pepper if you don't have this.
All right.
Just to season it up. And then we'll give this all a stir and get everything combined.
All right.
No extra dishes.
This is nice. You make it all in the same dish. Great.
Okay. We have one last step. We are going to add some bacon to the top.
How perfect is that?
Bacon makes everything better.
Yes,
So, okay, so this is a dilemma in my family. We go back and forth on this. I chop my bacon up, but my mother and my grandmother would lay strips across the top.
I've seen the strips, mostly.
So you could do it either way, but I find that everybody gets a little bit of bacon.
I know, yeah.
when you
then
do it this
everybody
way.
takes the strips and then
then
there's
you're
not
not
enough
left
for
with anything.
everyone.
So it's entirely up to you if you want to do your bacon in strips or pieces.
Gotcha. Yeah, that bacon's going to add some great flavor.
That smoky flavor, yep. Okay. And I just like to kind of break it apart across the top.
Right.
We're not being precise here. It's all going to bake down. All right, so there is our last of the bacon. So now we are going to pop this into a 350-degree oven for about an hour. All of the molasses and brown sugar is going to caramelize with the beans, and the bacon's going to render.
Good stuff.
It's going to be good.
Well, while the beans are in the oven, we're going to make a nice patriotic spritzer.
Yay!
All right, nice and easy and refreshing. So we have this nice clear container so you can see the red, white, and blue, and this is my grandma's container.
I love it. It's got that cute fireworks display on the side.
So we're gonna add some ice first. Let's just put a whole bunch of ice in there. And this kind of is the white of the red, white, and blue theme today, so. All right, I think that's looking good right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to add our simple syrup. And simple syrup is 1 part sugar, 1 part water, and you boil it until it's all dissolved. So we'll
That's
put
such a
that in
nice
there.
sweetness.
Yeah, it does, right? Okay, so Christina, would you chop some strawberries? We're
Sure.
gonna put some berries in there. We have a half a cup of strawberries, and we're going to use a half a cup of blueberries, of course, for our blue. And Christina's gonna
Yeah, we got you some there.
dice those up. Look nice and colorful.
They're so fresh too. This is the
Yeah.
perfect time of the year for this.
I know, right? It's beautiful.
There you go.
Okay, now you could just plop those in if you want.
Look at
how
that.
colorful
I
it
love
looks,
it.
right? All right. So now we're going to put the wine in.
And what kind of wine are you using?
We're using Chardonnay. We want a nice dry wine, but it's to your preference.
Okay.
And I like Chardonnay, so that's why we're doing it. So the wine, you just really have to fill it up about 3/4 of the way.
Okay.
Because we need some room for our next ingredient. So we're going to do that. All right, so our next ingredient is the club soda.
Okay.
Because we want it nice and fizzy and sparkly.
Refreshing.
Yeah, so we're going to just put the rest of this in and fill it to the top.
Perfect.
And how simple is that?
I know, I
That's
love
all
it.
we need.
It's so
right?
festive.
So then we're going to stir this up and mix it. Isn't this pretty?
I love it.
And there they are, the patriotic spritzer. Well, Christina, thank you so much for this delicious recipe and a nice homage to your grandmother, too.
You are so welcome. It was my pleasure.
So tell everybody where they can get the recipe and a bunch of other ones.
Sure, you can find this recipe along with all kinds of other quick and easy, tried and true recipes on my website, itisakeeper.com.
We'd like to wish everyone a
Happy 4th of July.
cheers.
Cheers.
We'll see you next time on the Home and Backyard Cookbook.